Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Daniel Stafford.
This is the Board Game Rundown. Today we are continuing our top 50 favorite games of all time.
Yes.
Today we're going 20 through 11. Oof. And if you've watched the other episodes, you will know that we used Pub Meeple to rank our games, and we picked ideal player count and situation, you know.
And then did micro adjusting afterward.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Micro.
Yeah, a few micro adjustments.
Around the edges.
Also, take note, if you like these lists, you should check out our live stream, 8 p.m. every Wednesday. We're doing 100 through 51 on our live stream.
101 through 51.
Yes, correct.
Keep lying.
He does. Also, like what Dan usually says, keep track of what we're saying and pick a game off each list. And which game would you like to play the most off of our list here? And put them in the comments below and let us know which games you like. Or if there's something we've forgotten, let us know, because there's a ton of stuff we forget.
Fair enough.
Regardless if you do any of that, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell. We appreciate it.
We do.
We do.
All right, Bob.
That's me.
Let's get right into it.
All right, let's jump into it. My number 20. I really enjoyed this game. We got to play it, I believe it was last week, even though we got our behinds handed to us. It was XCOM, the board game.
Nice. This is so high, Bob.
I know. Like I almost got rid of my copy of my game. Like it was on my trade list for a while, and I was like, you know what? No, we played it, and then I was like, this was a lot of fun. I'm gonna keep this game around, and I'm glad I am, because I felt this resurgence to want to just play it again and play it more.
And we talked about Resurgence last week.
We did.
That's funny.
But yes, this game also though is having a resurgence to me, and I want to play it more. I do.
Eric Lang.
I'll have to show you how to organize it.
You did that last time. You're like, what did you do? I'm like, I just threw it all in the bags. I don't know. And you're like, no, this goes to this player. This goes to this player. Thanks, Dan.
To be fair to you, I will say that probably the difference is when you organized it, it was when
Before
you first got it years ago.
Right. Yep.
And
I
now,
played other people's copies since then.
Right. Yeah. And I will tell you that, like, I organized games differently then than I do now.
True.
Yep.
I've evolved.
Yeah. Naturally. Yeah, great co-op though. Time sensitive. Tough decisions.
Ran with an app. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really good. And all right.
Stop the alien invasion.
My number 20.
That's it.
The lightest game left in my top 20. For Sale.
Ooh. It's pretty light.
This game, I know Dan does not love the term, but this game is an evergreen for me. I love playing this game. I think it's awesome because what you're doing is you're going through the first round. Everybody's got the same amount of money. You lay out a set of properties, basically one for each player. And then everybody's going to go around and bid, right? The winner gets to pick which property. Obviously, they're going to take the highest value one. And then at any time you opt out, you're going to get the lowest value, And so there's a lot of fun watching the variety of the values because it's like 1 to 30. And so as you go through, that money you're spending is also victory points, so you don't necessarily want to spend all of your money. But then the properties that you're getting are important for the second half of the game. So once you've gone through all of the properties, now you've got a deck and it's all like dollar values. And that's what you're selling those properties for. So now you're bidding again, but you're using the cards in your hand. Everybody's gonna pick a card from their hand, they're gonna play it, and then that's the internal or value order, highest to lowest. You're gonna pick which one of the dollar value cards that you wanna take. That adds to your money at the end of the game, and that's it. I mean, you play this game in 15, 20 minutes, if that. With Teach, super fun, very straightforward. I believe Eagle Griffin Games is the person or the company that prints it right now. Very strong recommend. This game is one of those small box games that I could take to any meetup. It can get played pretty quick. It's a nice little palate cleanser or a starter game, get everybody going.
Never played it.
I really.
For Sale is an amazing filler.
I've
played this so much.
Me too.
Like 30 plus plays or something.
It's super fun. I love the table talk, that can go in with the bidding on it. And again, it just plays so fast that even if you have a bad round or a bad game, it's done, pretty quick.
42 plays.
It's pretty good.
That's the meaning of life,
awesome.
The universe, and everything.
Great filler. Great filler.
So For Sale is my number 20.
I don't remember exactly what you call this, Tim, but
an evergreen.
but I think it's Hate Island. I will be the only person with this on my list, and that is Robinson Crusoe Adventures on a Cursed Island.
Misery Island.
Misery Island, that's what it is.
But out of all the Misery games, it's my favorite one.
This is a cooperative worker placement game where it is also like a scenario based, I guess you could say, where there's like a bunch of different things in the box, and you say we're going to do this one. It has a goal, and it also slightly changes the rules, and then you're just doing worker placement and trying to accomplish the goal before a certain amount of rounds go through, and the bad thing happens, right? The volcano erupts and it catches up to you. The boat that you're building the bonfire for passes by, and you don't know how long you're going to be on the island for again. One of the things that I really, really like about this game is how it handles the worker placement. Is this really interesting, I call it a time system, but it's more of a pasted on time system. It's a mechanical system, really, but it's that you have each player has 2 workers. And think of the way that I tend to explain is each worker counts as 12 hours. It counts as half of a day. So basically I can say I'm gonna spend half my day gathering wood and half my day building this tent. Because I'm splitting my time, there's a chance I fail at them. It is more likely I will succeed than I will fail, but there's a chance I will fail at them because I will roll dice to decide if I succeed at the tasks. Those dice could also tell me if I get injured doing it, or if I have an encounter doing it, stuff like that. Instead, I can put both my workers together on one location and say I'm spending all day to do that action, and you're guaranteed to succeed it, you're guaranteed to not get an encounter, all this other special stuff. But the problem is, you have a time limit on how much you need to get done before the end of the game, right? Because you need to accomplish your goal. So if everyone just puts both their workers together on a spot, yes, you'll guarantee get everything done, and you will never come close to accomplishing your objectives. You're gonna have to split up and decide which things are more important. Yes, that tent's gonna help us a lot, but it is not necessary to win the game. So only send one person to do the tent, and hopefully we get it. But if we don't, at least we have a chance to also do this, which is what we need to get done, right? That kind of stuff is gonna happen a lot. Again, I don't back very many Kickstarters, crowdfundings. I backed the collector's edition of this game. I like this game that much. My mom wanted to go in with me because she really wanted, she enjoyed the game and wanted to see the collector's edition. So looking forward to that coming.
Portal Games really did a very nice reissue with this. Like, it looks cool.
Right, yeah, it is very delayed.
I was asking if you heard anything about
looking forward to it.
It is delayed, but I mean, like, the production value and all this stuff, like, looks incredible. I can't wait to see your copy. And that's Ignacy Trebacek, right?
Yes.
That designed it.
And he does pretty consistent checkups and stuff, saying, like, we are very sorry that we're behind. Here's what we're currently doing. He's been very good about all that.
At least they're very open about that.
Exactly. But yeah, Robinson Crusoe, fantastic. Very, very difficult cooperative worker placement game.
And unlike other Kickstarters or GameFound, like crowdfunding sort of things, this is a game you already know you love, right? So you're just waiting for an awesome version of this
exactly.
game.
I'm just waiting for updated
you'll
bits.
be fine.
Yeah.
No, it's great. Awesome.
Also,
pick.
very, very difficult to learn from that first edition rulebook.
Oh,
so
true.
And the second edition rulebook, well, so you're probably talking about, right? So the first edition rulebook was awful. Then there was the reprint second edition or whatever. I don't know if it was technically a second edition. I don't know how those terms work in the industry. But its rulebook was a lot better. I still think it's a very difficult game to learn out of a rulebook, but that's just because there's a lot going on in the game. It's not necessarily that the rulebook is bad, it's just there's so much there that I think learning from a video is a lot easier. And yeah, so this one, they're updating it again, and we'll see. We'll see how different it is, right? I suggest checking it out.
All right, my number 20 has been talked about. It's Planet Unknown. So this is one of the games that moved up the highest for me. I had this on number 33 last time, but I think this game is one of the ones I've played the most that I don't own yet. I backed the reprint. I got that expansion coming. I cannot wait. I just cannot get enough of this game. Bob probably lowered it because every time we went to a meeple, I'm like, bring Planet Unknown, bring Planet Unknown, bring Planet Unknown, because it accommodates 6, and no matter how many players you have, it's still only going to take a little over an hour. And it feels really good.
Play is great.
Simultaneous play. I just like that lazy Susan manipulating that, and everybody grabs their piece and places it at the same time. But placing polyominoes, and then also getting combos off of tracks. Those are just two things that work really well for me. I cannot wait to get my second edition copy of Planet Unknown.
Adjacency
Adam's Apple really crushed it with this game. It's awesome.
The adjacency, like things you're going
Objectives,
for. Objectives, yeah, super great. And then they've got Lazy Susan's a thing of engineering like awesomeness, because not only is like, okay, I have the 3 straight with 1 over with the Z piece. Well, now this game, I'm going to pick that center thing up, rotate it. Now it's with a completely different piece. You don't always have the same pieces together all the time, which is phenomenal.
I will say that even though this game didn't land with me, I think it's awesome that a small indie publisher has such a massive hit on their hands. Sorry, Dan.
No, I was just gonna say that I think what do you say? Engineering awesomeness, but like hyphenated is a pretty good word. I like that. That's dangerously close to it.
Dangerously close to a Bobism.
To an interesting Bobism, yeah.
Engineering awesomeness.
Yeah.
I just like how replayable it is. Once you start using the variable planets and the variable track boards, there's so many different combinations you can create, and everyone feels very different. I feel like I'm playing the game very differently depending on the planets and the track boards I get.
For sure. Okay.
All right.
Number 19. 19. So this game's been around a while. It was number 19 once. Then last year it was number 15. Now this year it's back to number 19, probably because I haven't played it as many times, but it is still the best implementation of this game, Catan Starfarers. It is, if you love Catan, it's Catan-y enough to satisfy those that like Catan, and it's not Catan-y enough that if you don't like Catan, you still might like this game because there's enough stuff in it that's different that you can still enjoy it. It's got a really great mechanic where every turn you're just going to gain random resources anyway, no matter what's rolling the die, because in normal Catan you could be like, well, I'm on the 6s and the 8s, I can't get much better numbers than that, but nobody's rolling 6s and 8s and you just never get any resources, and I hate that. At least in Starfarers, you're always getting random resources every time it's your turn. And then there's no robber. Instead of a robber, if you roll a 7, yeah, people will have too many resources, do have to discard down to a certain amount, but then you're just going to steal one from other people, and everybody else is going to get a random one anyway, so you're not really down anything, and like so you're not blocking somebody's planet from not producing anything at all, which I don't really care for that. And it's just there's these alien species that you can put these different like satellites out, and then you get asymmetrical abilities from them if you get enough of them out there, and that's kind of like a longest road competition. Whoever has the most satellites gets to become their buddy, and then they get the asymmetrical power and points, or the trophy for everybody gets an asymmetrical power, but you get the trophy for it, which gets you extra points. And there's a whole, as you're exploring the space, then you're flipping the tiles over to seeing like what's out there, so you're not really sure where everything is at. When you see the board, it's all still a mystery until you actually explore the space. And I just really enjoy Catan Starfarers. It lasts a little longer than normal Catan does because of it's a much more area, you're exploring everything, but I think it's worth it. The spaceship where you're putting all the little bits and pieces on there to upgrade all your other ships, and then you have a feature where you tip it upside down, these little tiny balls come out the bottom, and that determines what your speed is, or if you have an encounter or anything like that. Yeah, it's fantastic. The best version of Catan.
It's pretty good.
It is really good.
Very Catan-y.
It is very
is.
Catan-y.
I've only played it once or twice. It didn't make my list. I just don't have enough experience with it yet. But it is the best version of Catan to me.
Yeah.
I agree with that statement.
Okay.
My number 19 moved up from 45 last year. A War of Whispers.
Nice.
Wow.
This game's freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
I really need the upgraded bits. We played it again with the upgraded bits, and then the two like kind of like mini expansions, which give you some
More
extra
cards.
more cards and stuff, which kind of
Helps.
was one of the things that Dan had talked about as a want in that game, a game he enjoyed but kind of wanted a little bit more, and that was one of the things specifically. This game's just awesome. I love the theme. I love playing it. It's just very cool. Everybody is, we're behind the scenes and we're manipulating the different nations. And and again, right, everybody at the bottom is like, you've got the order in which they're going to be the point values for you.
Right.
So you need some to be worse because they're nothing for you where your highest value one, and you can take an action and change them over. And then also the worker placement aspect of it, because each area that you activate, right, there's spaces for your workers, and as you go there, you take that, and then if there's any vacant spaces ahead of you, you can take those actions as well
until somebody else comes in.
Until somebody comes in and
like,
cuts you off.
It's like the hierarchy. Right? It's like the high chancellor, and then like the hierarchy that goes down, down, and down. And so depending on what seat you take, you're commanding everything below you. Unless somebody takes over. It
just adds like a really fun aspect to that game. Really cool. And the deluxe edition, I think, is what really kind of pushed it over the edge for me, because one of the knocks we had on the game was that because of all the stuff on the board, it was hard to see, like, oh, where's there
a tower? Where is there a city? Because all the pieces would cover it.
Right, right. But then the 3D bits that you add to the board just fix it. And also it just makes it look cool, too. I enjoy this game quite a bit, obviously, because it's my 19.
I refer to it as the Bene Gesserit, the game.
Yeah.
Because you're just kind of behind the scenes. Trying to tell each nation what they should be doing to try to make it align so that the nation you want to win wins.
Yeah. And it's funny because I'm looking at my list. The theme of my list this week will be movement. Like, as in the games have moved the most.
Oh, okay. I was like, movement.
The games have moved the most.
I don't have a theme.
There's 2 new games on here from last time. The first one was For Sale. And then all the other games have moved up and down.
Games that start with letters.
Yep.
That's good. That's good. I was going to say, my theme seems to be games I like a lot, but not necessarily in my top 10.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good theme too.
Seems to be
Man, I should have went with that theme. That sounds better.
That's really good.
So anyways, my 19, War of Whispers.
Nice.
My 19 was 16 last year, right around there, and that is Court of the Dead Mourner's Call, baby. Tim talked about this game last week. I'm not going to go too into it because he explained it last time. If you want to know a lot more, check that out. But basically, it is an area majority game taking place in like hell, where you there's drafting. You have the player board where you're keeping track of all these different stats and tracks and everything. And one of the thing that is interesting that I don't think we bring up enough is that it's like area majority, right, where you're putting your people out, and then but the thing is the areas also kind of work like worker placement slots. It's like they have abilities. So like once you win the area majority at the end of the round, you go in order and people activate all the slots they control, and that's how you are transferring resources or getting cards and doing all this stuff to help your future turns and get points. And I think we just forget to mention that a lot. But,
we do. It gets overshadowed.
Yeah, but Court of the Dead, fantastic art, just a really, really good game that I feel like no one has played, and it's a huge disservice to Project Raygun because they knocked it out of the park.
It's an intimidating box.
Yeah.
Yep. It's big. It's heavy. It looks like it's a lot. It looks like some assembly required, but there isn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great game. Good pick. Good pick.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, my number 19, there's a joke about how frequently I've mentioned this game on the live stream because it's Bora Bora. Bora Bora is one of my favorite Steffenfeld games. I've got 23 plays of this game, Ravensburger release, and it went out of print, so Queen picked it up and is re-releasing it as Kuzco. This is a really good dice placement game that can be mean, because if you play a low die, you're not allowed to play a die higher than that die on that same action unless you go out of your way to get a special God card, which breaks that rule. And there's all kinds of different God cards that allow you to break rules, but ultimately it's like you're playing out your Bora Bora kind of family civilization here, where you've got to build huts, and then you're going to put those huts onto, well, it's not that civvy, Bob. I'm so glad that was Jake. That was perfect. It's not really a civ game. It's kind of a medium, crunchy dice placement game. Okay. But you're putting huts out on the board. Those allow you to get men, women that live in those huts, and they each all have like their own special abilities. And there's a phase that allows you to activate those special abilities. Where your huts go is also a territory control game. Whoever places the last hut in an area gets points for it at the end of the game. You're doing a little bit of building on your player board by trading in resources that you're getting by placing those huts on the board. There's just so many paths to victory in so many Feld games. Just like I talked about Marrakesh. Marrakesh has a million different ways to victory that I can see, and a ton of different strategies.
12.
Bora Bora also has like contract fulfillment, so every round you have to complete a contract, or I think they call them quests, and you're forced to. Every round you must complete one. and you'll lose points if you don't fulfill them. So even though you've got a long-term strategy of what you're trying to build for, you've also got your short-term strategy is forced by these quests, and sometimes you can get the best one that's available and you've already been able to fulfill it. Other times you're the last person to pick the next available quest and you don't have any of the requirements, so you have to spend the entire round just fulfilling that contract. So it interrupts that long-term strategy you're going for and says, no, you got to complete this round. And so I just really like all the different ways that I can, okay, somebody blocked me from getting my huts out. I'm supposed to have 3 huts out this round. Okay, well, I can go get this special ability that allows me to put huts out. There's just multiple different ways to do things in this game, and I like the tactical nature of this game, where you're always, there's a wrench being thrown into your plan and you got to adjust. I just really like how well that's done in this game. Tons of replayability.
You reminded me when you said that of there's those quests in Lords of Waterdeep that
I was just gonna say, I was thinking the exact same thing. I was.
You can be like, okay, you have to complete these first.
Mandatory quests. Here you go. Buddy.
Yeah, every round you got to at least complete one, and there's bonus points if you complete one every single round throughout the game. So if you leave those points on the board, you're really handicapping yourself. So it just forces you to make these decisions as you play, and it's just very good. Sometimes unforgiving if somebody puts that 1 on the spot you need, and you couldn't get a god card to overcome that. But that's what makes it great. It really forces you to make hard decisions.
I was just gonna make a Jabba joke with all those huts.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, well, you know.
Okay, so number 18. 18 was 23 last year, so it has moved up a little bit. That's because one of my favorite hidden movement games of all time is Letters from Whitechapel. I love playing as Jack the Ripper. That cat and mouse. I've had so many good stories of like, I was here and then like they searched here. Oh, there's a clue. Okay, well then like they're gonna move onto my spot and then they're gonna search another area. Then I'm gonna like walk right past them and try to get around. Like so many times, or like when we played against Patrick and he wanted to be Jack and it's like, oh, he's here. I'm just gonna arrest here and he's like, you got me. So it's like a 15-minute game of Letters from Whitechapel.
Oh, he was mad.
He was so mad. It was great. But it's just so much fun. Like I say, Halloween is great because it does give the others something to do. But I do feel like Letters from Whitechapel, if you could play it with like 3 people, and then at least the cops each have 2 cops they're able to control, because it can be unfortunate, like if like, oh, there's 5 cops and your character's way over here and you know the action's going over here, you're like, I'll move, and that can be kind of boring.
Be a better cop.
Well, but I get it, you're trying to cover, you know, the whole area because you never know where Jack's going to strike at, you know. And I've had so much fun with this game. It's like, I really hope that we can do some sort of like a playthrough hidden edition for Board Game Rundown, where like you can film us playing it and watch some of the shenanigans that happen as we play, because man, I think that would make for some really good content.
Yeah,
and
it's
a good time.
It's a great game.
Yep.
It's a great game. It did just fall out of my top 50, but I still love it.
Good.
Still love it. All right, my number 18 moved up from 47.
Woo, that's a bit.
It's a lot. Between Two Castles of... Excuse me?
You're excused.
Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig.
It's good.
Is my number 18. This is one of my favorite Stonemaier games. Okay. I just think it's awesome. It's beautiful. Yep. I love the drafting. I love the working with your partners.
Right.
The scoring. You know, like you can't
score
build
your
up,
worst one.
You can't build up too high on one or the other, because yes, you're scoring your worst one.
Yeah.
And I just really love the hell out of this game.
Between that game and the 2 games it combines, that is the superior game.
It is the superior game. Yep. I have no interest in owning the other 2.
Yep.
This is the one I want. This is the one I want to play.
Yep.
I just really like it. I'll play this game anytime.
It's great at super high player counts too.
And it plays
you're
fast.
doing that adjacency stuff, right?
It's easy to teach. You know, it just does so many things right. And then plus there's like fun little inside jokes on the tiles and stuff too. You know, like game references. And things which is kind of a
little Easter eggs on the tile.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little Stonemaier, you know, kind of trademark thing that they like to do. It's like put little Easter eggs in there. Check out your scythe board.
Yeah.
But Yeah, super fun. Really enjoy this game. Replayability is just off the charts because you just grab a different stack of tiles, shuffle the tiles up, play.
Yeah, it's really good.
Play with different things.
Yep. It's really good. I will be talking about this game eventually.
We got some foreshadowing.
My number 18, though, is War of the Ring, the card game.
Yeah.
This game is new to my list this year because I hadn't played it by Ares Games, and it's incredible. An asymmetric, faction-based, team-based card battler with area control as far as the way that like Smash Up does area control, where you have cards that you're putting power on in order to in order to control. I'm just saying you're not like moving units around, right? You're just putting cards on another card. Man, dude, this game is so good. I want to play it all the time. This is in the same boat of Star Wars: The Deck Builder, which I talked about last week. They're the two games that every time I go in my local game store, I pick them up. Every single time. War of the Ring, the card game, and Star Wars: The Deck Builder. I pick them up, and I just go, when am I going to get it played? And then I put it back, and it's very depressing. But they're the two games at the top of my buy list right now because they're so fun and so affordable. And War of the Ring, the card game, there's a bunch of different modes you can play in, but basically you pick the deck you're going to be playing as. So like you're Aragorn with the Dunedain and
the free
stuff.
people,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, the free people, and I can't remember. The free people is the name of all the good teams combined.
Sure.
And then within the free people, you have the Dunedain, the elves,
Dwarves?
No, because there's only one dwarf card in the whole game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Gimli's the only dwarf card in the whole game.
Well, at least you have his axe.
Yeah, and my bow. But you're on your turn, you are playing cards. You're spending cards from your hand to play other cards to put them out and control areas. And so there's two things you're doing. You're either battling at locations, which if you win the location gets you victory points, but also there are quest locations that you can go and fight for as well. And some characters are better at that than other. This game is so well designed, guys. So like Gandalf the Grey is terrible at fighting, right? Uh-oh, Tim. So Gandalf the Grey is terrible at fighting, but he's really good at questing. He especially the early quests. See, like you get bonus stuff from him if he is on the early quest because he is leading the hobbits. He is helping them accomplish these goals. But then once you play Gandalf the White, Gandalf the Grey does not exist anymore. You literally have to go through your deck and get rid of it, trash it from the game, and you now have Gandalf the White, and now he's good at fighting. Gandalf the Grey is out there on the battlefield protecting the realm while the hobbits are out doing the rest of their quests. It's fantastic, man. The amount of stuff in the game that's like that's just so thematic. Same thing with like...
If you like Lord of the Rings, it's super...
It's a great thematic implementation. It really is.
Yeah, the same thing with Strider. You have the Strider card in your deck, and he's good at certain abilities, and then once you play Aragorn, though, Strider does not exist anymore.
Spoilers!
He has now lowered the cowl. Yeah, the guy hiding in the dark corner smoking, that's Aragorn. But there's so much of that in this game. The cards play off each other so well. Every deck feels unique and interesting. I love this game. I love playing this game. Check out our review if you're interested.
Okay. Pick.
My number 18 is Splendor Duel. Splendor Duel. So this is one of my most played games this year. I've got 23 plays of this game in this year. I took it on multiple road trips and just played the absolute heck out of this game. I obviously really like original Splendor. It's a perfectly fine, simple engine builder, but then Splendor Duel improves it every way possible. It's not just you can pull any gem that's available. The gem has to be out on the board now, and the gems have to be adjacent to each other. And when you fulfill a card, you put the gems back into a bag, and it takes an action to refill the board from the bag. And I just love those extra elements they added to this game. I've always loved Splendor, and they just really knocked out of this park with this reprint or this two-player edition. I cannot get enough of it. I mean, Splendor for me was mostly a two-player game anyway. That's how I've played it the most.
Same.
Oh, sure.
I would never play Splendor two-player again. Like, I mean, there's no reason to.
Is this still Space Cowboys?
Yes.
Okay.
And then Bruno Cathala helped with this one as well. So, man, it's really good. If you like Splendor and if you have a regular player that you play with all the time, I cannot recommend Splendor Duel enough. It is fantastic. One of my most played games this year.
And it's super balanced. Like every time like I've played that game, it's like been a couple of point difference. Like
yeah,
it's never like, oh, I beat you by 10 or 20 points. It's like, no, it's like 2 points, 3 points.
Yeah, I like all the extra victory conditions they added to this one too.
Different ways to win.
Yeah, instead of it just being victory points, you can win by getting 10 crowns or by getting 10 points in one color. I really like those changes a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it the one time I played it.
Yep,
and we reviewed that one as well.
Yeah.
And man, I gave that one an 8.5. I'd probably move that up to a 9 now, honestly, because I've played it so much.
Nice.
All right. My next game is number 17. New game, and I was super proud of myself. This is a game that Mike had for a long time that I wanted to get, would not overpay. I was patient. I finally got a copy for normal retail price, but heat, pedal to the metal. Fantastic game. I was played Mike's copy a ton. We took it to Origins. We played it a ton. We just everybody kept seeing it. Everybody wanted to buy it. We wouldn't buy it with them, but we'd play it with you. And so we'd sit them down, we'd play, and man, we had a ton of fun. I've introduced this game to a bunch of people. They've all enjoyed it. I've got my own micro machines to replace the cars. Even though the original cars that come in there are fine, but micro machines are cooler. And I was going through a bunch of the stuff that my parents gave me, and I found another bag of micro machines. So I've got even more now to pick from, so that's fantastic. But it's just a great little racing game, which is similar to the Flamme Rouge, you said, right?
Yeah, Flamme Rouge.
I haven't played that one, but this one it's fantastic. And like you can do a draft at the beginning where you get these upgraded cards that have like different things to help increase with, how fast you can go around a curve, or you can play cards like later on in the turn that you normally can't do, like little cards that will break the rules. But you just choose what gear you want to go in. You have to play that many cards, and then you're going around the track. And if you go too fast around the turn, you got to add heat from your engine into your discard pile, and then there are dead cards in your hand, and you got to just kind of work around that, manage it as a resource. And man, I had a ton of fun playing this on BGA, IRL. It's out now in stores. Go find yourself a copy. Don't overpay. Be patient. It does pay off. And yeah, they're out there.
I just sleeved mine, and I found a deal on sleeves.
Yeah,
and
specifically
they fit
for it because they're a funny size.
Yeah, and they all fit perfect.
Good.
And they sent the exact right amount, and it was like $11.
Nice.
And
That's
I got
not bad at all.
like 110 sleeves.
Yeah. That's
Every
pretty
card
good.
in the game.
Cool.
That was perfect.
One of my most played games this year. It's amazing.
Yeah. Just by the fact that you took it to Origins and everybody kept asking you to teach
Played
it.
it 6 times in a row.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like 6 or 8 players.
And the base game without the upgraded cards.
Right,
And
without the
I've
draft.
played it more without, just base game teaching people that when I get to use the garage module, I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, the better cards.
Let's
I'd
go.
really like to do like a BGA circuit where we all, because there's 4 maps, right?
Yeah.
So we'll play each map. Each time we'll do like a little draft and add more cards to our deck.
I don't want to do a
upgrade our
BGA.
cards.
I want to do it in real life.
Yeah. No, I'm saying like no BGR. Like
You
a
said
BGR.
BGA
I'm sorry,
circuit.
I'm sorry, BGR.
I'm like, I don't want to
circuit.
play this on Board Game Arena. I want to play this
I
in
think
real
we
life.
should play it. We should film
Yeah.
it, right? And then
Yeah.
you get points for first place, second place, and at the end of 4 races, see who has the
Dan,
most
you want a
points.
day off?
I'm
just kidding. I'm
loving this
I know
on-
you don't love the game as
I'm
much.
loving this
fine.
on BGA too. Even 2 players where
Yeah.
the BGA runs the legends for us.
Right, the AI.
It's
Yeah.
because we get to use the garage module cards.
Right, yeah. And, so
And
it's
the
so much
weather
fun.
module, there's just so much extra content when you get past the base game. It just all feels really good.
It does.
All right.
Great pick, Bob.
Thanks, Mike.
Talk about that later.
Mine was 50. I had it rated. But I have not played it near as much as you guys. Okay.
We
My
can fix
17
that.
moved up from 44
Oh, wow.
last year, even though I haven't played it a ton since then. Kemet. OG Kemet.
Wow.
Like
Nice.
this, I was looking at the list and I was like, we're talking about like making micro adjustments and stuff. And I was like, man, that's a lot higher than it was before. And I think it's just kind of going back to the style of games that I really do enjoy. The tactical strategy with Kemet, the everybody's combat cards kind of being the same, but then getting to build up the pyramids, the techs that you can gain, and then you gain those unique monsters, and the way you kind of like upgrade your own stuff. It's just really fun. It's really satisfying. I like the original version more than the Blood and Sand, but it's fine. I mean, whatever. Play the version you like. Like I said, I like the original version. I still only have one of the expansions. I don't have the other one. I think I'm trying to get it from Mike. But Kemet is awesome. For me, it's a classic. I love the game, and I love the theme. It's that Egyptian theme. There's one Egyptian theme I like a little bit, a little bit more.
Wow.
But yeah, this Kemet is just still really good. I just really like this game, and I look at the box on the shelf, and it's like, man, I want to play that. Like, when can I get that played? Hardly ever. But I love it, and yeah, I still really appreciate it. I kind of really did think about this one a lot when I was looking at where stuff landed, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep it because I want to talk about it there, and it's important to me. So, Kemet is my 17.
I like how it's just a straight up war game. It's you only win if you win battles.
Yeah, there's no turtling. There's no turtling.
No,
you have
if
to
you're
go
turtling,
and fight.
you're losing.
And yeah, and the other way to get victory points, right, is to control, the different areas. But you literally have to battle to stop people from controlling those areas. And so it's just really good. It's very pure. It's very straightforward. There are games tactical war games that I like better. I'll talk about them later. But this is one that I really do enjoy quite a bit.
Oh, the texts feel really good too.
Oh, that's so much fun. I love it. I love it. To me, it's almost like getting the buildings in Waterdeep. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it's not the same thing, but it feels very fulfilling to get the different texts and to build up your temples so that you have access to the higher level ones. It's just really fun. Daniel.
Well, I guess it's eventually already because my number 17 is Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Tim, you just don't like this game enough.
I think you're right.
Yeah, this is at least one. If we were doing it like out of 20, it would be like 1/20th better than what you think it is.
Fair.
5% better. Everything he said, I'm not going to waste a bunch of time going back into it. It is a fantastic game that combines two other games that honestly, I like both other games. I'm in the minority there, but I like both other games. This one's better.
I like Between Two Cities more than I like Castles of Mad King.
Most people do.
But I think that that combination is the sweet spot.
That mashup is really good.
But yeah, anyway, the new to the list this year, at least that's what this says. I can't believe that I hadn't played it last year, I guess, but maybe. I don't know. That's what this says. Michael fix it later.
Yeah,
by Stonemaier, it's fantastic.
All right.
Great pick.
Yeah. It's fine.
As far as I can tell, it didn't make your list last year.
Doesn't look like it. Mr. Mike.
Okay, my number 17 is Ready, Set, Bet. This is my favorite party game. I will play this up to 8, of course. It's best with max player count.
Yeah,
I still think it's very good with 4 and up. But there's just something to be said about rooting for digital horses on a screen, and people are just
screaming like idiots.
Come on, 8! And you're just getting, people that don't normally get that excited about games pumped about rooting for these digital horses. It's just so much fun. I love this game so much. I try to play it at holidays every chance I get, and I just have a blast with Ready, Set, Bet. Sometimes I just want a game that's just fun to play, if nothing else. And Ready, Set, Bet, I just have a lot of fun.
You want to play a fun game? Weird.
It came out last October. AEG, John DeClaire design. Love a lot of his games. I've already played this game like 16 times.
Wow.
It's just a ton of fun.
Gives me a throwback to when my uncle used to take me to the racetrack.
Nice.
Nice.
Here, kid, which horse looks good?
That one's got a funny name. All right, we're betting on that one.
I mean, you can have one person roll 2 D6s, and that moves the horses.
Yeah.
I think it's more fun to use the app. One of these days, we'll run a game just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
I've even made a jumbo version to do this, and it just hasn't happened. We haven't played it in a while.
Yeah,
the only
it's been a while.
Yeah.
But it's just it's a riot. It is just a riot to play. I like how you get special ability cards as the game goes on. So
And everybody everybody gets them.
Yeah, everybody's getting very useful special abilities, so every race feels a little bit better. You're making a little bit more money each time.
Well, you have to
hopefully.
bet. Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. Sometimes all your bets miss. The 8 gets all the way out to the lead and then doesn't move for like 5 minutes. Like, what's going on here?
Or you're too slow to bet on something, and all the spots fill up.
Yeah, just like how you're in real time getting those bets out. Sometimes people beat you to the good bets. It's a blast.
It's my 39, I think. Yeah, it's real good.
Irrelevant.
Takes us down to number 16. So my number 16 is a new to me game this year. There was a point in time with my IRL plays, my BGA plays, I was 14-0 on this game. I love it. It is After Us.
Wow.
I am the one responsible for breaking that record.
Tim broke the 14-0 undefeated streak, and I have since lost some games since then. Although that wasn't technically a win, it was a tie. You got some now.
That's how much it bothers him. I got a couple wins in there. The problem is we've played that game probably 20 times together. We've been playing it a lot.
Like I was saying on here, so I've played it. I've got it. I just lost it. There it goes. 35 times, right? And this is like the past, stretch. Wow. No, 35 times. And I haven't logged the past, like, what, 4 or 5 days we've played. So there's probably a few more plays I haven't logged in there yet. I do have an 88% win record.
I also want to point out that when Bob and I learned this game, we played it first before anyone else.
Not a full game.
Yes, we had to end a round early. I was going to say that. We had to end a round early for time, but I destroyed him. So, I'm just saying.
Doesn't count. Doesn't count. We stopped halfway through. I could have came back.
Halfway.
Could have came back. You were at like 40 something and it plays to 80. That's half. But yes, full games. I was 14-0. It's a great game though. Great deck builder. Simultaneous play. Plays up to 6 people. It's a little bleak, right? What is it? 2083, and humanity's been extinct for decades. Doesn't leave us much time.
Yeah.
But it's a ton of fun. Yeah. Fix yourself.
Good luck with that.
Great game. Check it out. It's super affordable. I would recommend sleeving it because you are going to play it a lot.
Yeah. It was my 24. Had it on my list last week. Yep. I freaking love this game. It's great. Wow, that's 2 Dutray art, right? Because you had Heat. Did you have Heat?
Oh, wow.
Not yet.
Not this week. Yeah, no.
But After Us, you had Heat. No, who had Heat?
I did.
About Heat?
I did.
Yeah, so that's 2 for you. 2 Vincent Dutray art.
Wow, back to back.
Yeah, look at that.
How about that?
All right, fun facts.
Fun facts.
My number 16 was 23 last year.
Ooh.
Unfathomable.
Ooh, nice.
I have this higher than BSG because it is more accessible.
Yeah.
I think, and it's a little faster. It probably takes like a half hour of gameplay out of there. But I think that I don't know, it just does so many things right. I really do enjoy the game. I love Battlestar. I think it's great. I just hate how hard it is to get Battlestar.
Yeah, if you don't have one already, good luck.
Yeah, hopefully you have access to one. It's too bad because I think that everybody should, if they want, get the opportunity to play the game in its original form, which is fantastic. But this is the one you can go out and get without, mortgaging your house. And again, you are kind of like Battlestar Galactica, except we're on this ship. We're trying to make it to the,
destination,
Arkham. The shores of the, Arkham or whatever, right? We're in the northern Atlantic Ocean, and deep ones are popping up out of the water. And so you're moving the ship, and as you move the ship, so in Battlestar, when you make that FTL jump, right, all the Cylon ships disappear. Well, in this one, when you move, somebody shovels coal, into the engine, the ship moves, and then all of the pieces start to slide back. And then the other thing you can do is in Battlestar, you could deploy ships out, right? And you could have somebody like out flying the ship, and then they're knocking off the Cylons one by one. So this one, like the deep ones are boarding the ship. So you can go to some of the exterior areas and try to take them out, to prevent them from getting inside. Because if they get inside, they're gonna
destroy stuff,
wreck stuff, right? And yeah, they're abducting people off the decks. So you got to go out and rescue the people.
Citizens,
But then there's somebody that can do a ritual, which will essentially throw a lightning bolt down, zap everybody, and then that'll send Dagon and Hydra back down into the depths. So there's just like lots of crazy fun things you can do with this game. The trader mechanic is fun.
So much fun. The chaos deck.
The chaos deck is where it's at because again, we're gonna try to meet this objective, right? So I've got everybody's gonna throw in cards, and you know the cards that don't help you are negatives.
Hurtful, yeah.
And also though, you have to decide like, do I want to use this card for its ability, or am I spending this card to try to help get the
Right.
to complete that event? So we have like the less worst thing that can happen. And then the really fun part of it is that the captain then once you move so far, the captain then gets to draw 2 cards and pick one of them secretly. And we're like, oh, well, this was the best one we had, guys.
Sorry.
You know,
Yeah.
but we're going to lose food or we're going to lose fuel, you know, because like Battlestar, it's got these dials on the board that you have to keep up.
Your morale, your
there's,
people,
there's food,
and your gas.
Yeah. And it's just a really fun game. Even with the one time we had a player who was being a bit of a sourpuss, I still had a great time with this game, and I think it's super fun, and I love playing it.
I do have a quick question. Does the Battlestar Galactica have a chaos deck?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I
Same
wasn't
thing.
sure about that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I love that mechanic.
All of that is all the same. It is really just like, I'm trying to remember like what they did to streamline some of the things.
Well,
but
the main thing is they split the track into 2 tracks. So in
Oh, yep.
Unfathomable, you have the travel track and you have the ritual track.
Yep.
In Battlestar Galactica, that's just 1 track.
Yep.
So that's the one thing.
Somehow it made it faster.
And then, man, because again, that's the big difference. Then again, in Battlestar Galactica, you're going faster than light. So when you jump, you lose everything, and they slowly show back up again to where in this you're in a boat. So
Yeah.
they just slowly, like, you lose
Yeah,
them
they drift
in
back.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's slightly different. But I mean, it is 85%, 90% the same game.
Yeah. It's really fun.
They're
I think
both super fun.
Both games are great. If you can get one of them in your collection, please do.
Yep.
It's worth it. But anyways, Unfathomable.
I've been wanting to play that a lot recently.
Me too.
Yep, Battlestar Galactica, me too. My number 16 is Wayfarers of the South Tigris.
Oh.
This is a fantastic worker placement tableau building game. I like crunchy, thinky games that don't overstay their welcome, and this is one of those for me. Some of the main aspects this game does that I would share to someone if I was trying to explain the game is one of the really interesting things is there's no player color when it comes to the workers. There's just, you start out with some workers, and then how it works is, okay, I'm going to put this guy here because I want to take that action. Now, anyone on their future turns can take that card, and they get any workers that are on that card. So you can get really interesting moments in this game to where Bob has 20 workers and I have 0. That's just like a really interesting, because I'm not focusing on that right now. That's a really interesting element to have in the middle of a worker placement game. On top of that, you have kind of 2 systems you're balancing, to where you have your workers and stuff that you can focus on, put them out, but then you also have dice that you can put out, as it's basically worker placement, but you're assigning your dice, and depending on where you put them in the pip, they will get you different things as well. And then all this is you building here, I can't keep my phone up today, and all this is you building out this stunning tableau in front of you that kind of makes a big panoramic view of your city. I don't know what to call it. Like, like looking out onto the ocean. And there's so many different strategies that goes into it with space and everything. You have what I call a tech tree. It's not really a tech tree, but you have this tree that goes out across the board that as you move up slowly gives you more resources and gives you more things that you can do. I think that if you like crunchy worker placement games, as you can see, I think this is one of the best ones available right now. I think Garfield Games makes incredible games in general. I loved Architects of the West Kingdom for a very long time, and Wayfarers is just my spot for them right now. I don't know how Garfield Games, what's the designer's name?
Shem Phillips.
Thank
Shem
you.
Phillips.
I couldn't remember his name. Shem Phillips, I talk about every time I talk your games. I have no idea how you are still innovating worker placement.
Yeah, very unique.
I don't know
takes
how
on
you do
worker
it.
placement.
Every time you come out with a worker placement game, it's not only completely different from all your other games, but it's a brand new way to do worker placement I've never seen before.
Yeah.
I'm always impressed by Garfield Games worker placement games, and Wayfarers is a fantastic one.
Yep, that's a good pick.
I used to think that this was the only Shem Phillips game I played, and I really liked it. But I have played one other one that I didn't realize was a Shem Phillips game until recently. And this is still my favorite Shem Phillips game, because I do not like Shelfie Stacker.
That's a much different feeling.
Oh,
type of game.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
But this game was
Yeah, same
awesome.
game.
When I played this, because we played it for the channel, and when I played this game, I was just like, what? Yeah, like just lots of mini mind explosion sort of things. Great pick. I kind of forgot about this game, but it's great.
I thought
it's a
people
great
might
game.
have, yeah. We don't play it a lot, and there's just it's been overshadowed a bit by all the other things we've been playing.
It looks fantastic.
And it keeps coming out with more and more, so it's kind of hard to be like, well, I really like that. Wait, he's got a new one coming out. I got to check out now.
Well, and again, like the first thing when you started talking about it, all I could think of was that tableau I'm building at the bottom, right? Like just how visually appealing that is, in addition to it being satisfying as you're like, gaining things from it. But
and I love how the workers aren't your workers.
yeah,
Right, no,
they're
they're
just workers.
Yeah, they're just workers.
Well, it's also an end of the year release, so it makes it hard to time with like best of end of the year lists and things like that.
Yeah, I think we
and
played
so
it.
now it's like a whole year has gone by, and we
Right.
didn't talk about it much at the end of the year, other than that review. But it's really good, of course. And now he's got another one coming out this year that's even crunchier. So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just got one of his new ones. The
Yeah.
but it's all color based.
Scholars.
Yeah.
Yeah, their worker placement games come out in trilogies. So you have the West Kingdom, and now
Correct.
this is the South Tigris.
The
you have the North
Explorers.
Sea.
Yeah,
So,
North Sea,
this is the first one of the South Tigris trilogy.
All right, my number 16. Let's talk about another Stefan Feld game. It's Trajan. Trajan is very unique because this game uses a Mancala mechanic, and there just aren't enough games that really use this. And so what you're doing is you've got these different colored pieces on your board, and you're much like 5 tribes. You're going to pick them all up, and you're going to drop them, and wherever they land, that's the action that you do. And really what you're doing is you've got 6 mini games you're playing on your Mancala, and all of the actions are very different, but they feed into each other. And there's just a lot of different ways you can manipulate this Mancala, and it just feels really satisfying when you're firing off multiple things at once, because the colors where you leave them can give you different bonuses, and you can seriously plan ahead, because there's nobody can stop you on what you can do with your Mancala. So there are times where you can plan out 4-5 turns ahead, and you can see what you got to do in advance to make these things proc exactly how you want. It's just very satisfying to play. It's got a lot, like all the other Feld games I've played, there's a lot of different ways to strategize and win. Tons of different strategies available. I can't get enough of this game. This is like a 2013 release, and I still put it up this high. I've played it 16 times. It's just absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
Haven't played it.
Nope, haven't
I
played
know. I know.
Is
me
this
and-
one on BGA?
No,
Okay.
I wish. I played it on a site that's no longer exists, unfortunately, called WOAH, which is a French website that finally closed. Sad panda. But I got a lot of digital plays in on there before I switched over to BGA. But very good game.
That's interesting. WOAH is a game publishing company too, so I wonder if
Yeah.
that has something to do with it. I don't know.
I don't know. So that's going to take us to number 15. But before we go into 15, how about a word from our sponsor?
Lasercraft Workshop would like to introduce our set of 3D printed damage counters for popular trading card games. These stackable damage counters allow you to easily track damage assigned to cards during a battle. The set comes with 16 yellow 10s, 7 orange 50s, and 7 red 100s for a total of 30 counters. Lasercraft Workshop is accepting pre-orders now. To pre-order your set of these damage counters, visit the link in the description below or head over to lasercraftworkshop.com.
So anyway, my number 15 is one of the things that has really made me appreciate like what we've started to do in the show and everything else. So last year was number 11. This year is number 15. And because of this game, I kickstarted it on my own. I talked his praises up. And because of it, we made friends with the designer. And he's a super awesome dude from Portland. The game is After the Empire.
Oh,
And it's by
Mr. Evan.
Mr. Evan. Yes, Laird. He's a Laird. He's a Scottish Laird.
he's a Laird.
Yep. Great game, though.
Ryan Malk, right? That's the other designer. It was co-designed by Evan
Oh yeah.
and Ryan.
Yep.
And Gray Fox games.
Gray Fox Games, yes. But it's a fantastic tower defense type of game. Everybody has their own little castle. It's starting out wooden. You've got workers on there, or you got your fighters and whatnot. Then you have your workers. You're sending your workers out to a common area where there's a worker placement spots to gain resources and recruit more dudes. And then when battle time comes, you're going to be flipping over these cards. You're going to be attacked from all these different directions of on your castle, and you have to have guys on the walls to help defend. You've got turrets that are going to be shooting at people. We got to play the prototype of his expansion that he's working on, so that was super exciting. And man, this just has such great table presence. I remember taking this to meetups, and people were like, I want to play that. I want to play that, because it just looks so cool with these castles and everything else that you're putting together. And man, it's just such a fun game. I really love this game, and I want more. You better wrap up that expansion, Evan.
Oh my goodness.
Direct threat.
Can we just make an appointment to where you teach me this game, like sooner rather than later? Please.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
this
seriously.
is. I just don't play it enough. I love this game, but
Yeah.
it never makes it onto my list because I just don't play it enough. I will say, fun little time was so I went into our local game store on Black Friday with my family. They were looking at D&D stuff and everything like that, and I pulled this off the shelf to show to my brother because I was like, dude, look at what this game lets you do, and he was like,
Yeah.
it's just when people see what that game lets you do,
So
man.
cool. Yep.
Yeah,
So,
very,
yeah.
very cool. Great pick.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're right. It is kind of fun to get to know the designers, but
Yeah.
when to your credit, you were already like way in the bag for
Oh,
this
yeah.
game.
100%.
Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
million-
I love this game before we knew
Yeah,
anybody in
they-
Gray Fox
They
ever
reached
met.
out to us
Yeah, they
because
reached out
of
to
our
us.
review. That's
Yeah.
how we first started
Yeah.
contact, like
Yep.
way back. So.
Yeah, it's
So
just
it's
fun
just
when
great.
that happens.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it.
All right. My number 15. Bob, you were wrong about this game.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Catan Starfarers.
It's close. It's about
You
four better
have
than
it
what I had
rated
it.
way too low.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 26 on last year's list. This is the superior Catan. For all the things Bob said, adding the stuff to your ship is just so satisfying. The events. Like, you
Yeah.
always want that little black
Encounters.
ball to come out because
Yeah.
you just want to see the event cards.
Yeah.
And you got to have somebody else read
Read
you
them
the
to
event
you.
card because there's branching paths, right?
Yes.
Potentially, you know, and it's so much fun. And you can't trust them because it's like, oh, you're going to
Yeah.
save this princess.
Yeah, a lot of them start the same way. They have the same intro.
Oh my
and
gosh!
it's
And you're
different.
like, I don't know what to
Yeah.
do because it's like, oh, it wasn't a princess. Like, now these
They're
pirates
space
are
pirates.
Yeah, damn it! Or it really was a princess.
Yeah.
Like, and you got this great
She didn't look
reward.
Jewish.
I love the I love the thematic nature of the events. I think that because it wants you to customize your ship because that's something you can do in the game. You can
Yeah.
add guns, you can add engines, you can add all these things
Cargo
to your ship,
space.
and it's cool, you know. And while it looks cool and it's fun to do and everything, also then these events show up and it's like, oh, well, pirates,
matter.
you need at least a certain amount of guns to even stand
Yeah.
a chance against
Yeah.
these pirates. I think that's so you can really specialize your ship and be like, I'm going to be a warfaring, you know, ship. I'm going to have all these guns. I don't really care about my engine because if I come across pirates, I'm going to be able to beat them every time. You
Yeah.
know, like that's a really, really cool little element of the game.
And it just does the best thing out of any Catan, which is every turn, everybody's getting some resources.
With
every turn.
with even catch-up mechanisms on top of that too.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
so as you start to
fantastic.
expand and build more, you start to get fewer and fewer of those resources. Whereas if you're not doing well and your numbers aren't hitting, you're going to keep.
You're still getting those
resources.
extra resources.
Yeah,
it's just really good.
done well.
I love this game. It's fantastic.
Good pick, Tim.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's my number 15.
My 15 was 27. Last year it's moved up a bit, and that is Conclusio.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's so good.
I know that I'm like the big defender, not defender, right? We tend to all like the game, but I'm saying
Yeah.
I'm the one that talks about it the most. I love this game. Talk about, you guys talked about Scout recently, and you said like the smallest game. This is smaller than Scout. This box is, it's tiny.
It's thinner, but it's wider.
Sure, I guess I never count wider.
We're gonna have to do
You're
Well,
like some.
Scout has like the skinny cards, though, doesn't it?
It does. It's skinnier and taller, whereas Conclusio is flatter and wider.
So anyway, Conclusio is a deduction card game where everyone has, I call it like the opposite of Hanabi, if you know what that is. Hanabi's very famous. But in the game, you have one card facing away from you and you have a bunch of cards. And on your turn, you're going to play a card from your hand and ask the person to your left, does this have anything in common with my card? And the card is going to have a color, a shape, and a number. And if any of those match your card, they're going to say yes. And if not, then they say no. And you kind of have these two piles, yes and no's. And you're trying to deduce based on all the cards that are slowly accumulating on the table and what you see in other people's hands, what card you have. The first person to guess their card correctly wins. I will say, I'm not going to tell you how because I think that ruins things. Technically, and this blew my mind, so I introduced it to my roommate and everything, and he liked it so much, he played it so much in a week, he actually found out how to break the game. You can mathematically know your card after knowing one element of the card. So if you know it's a 2, you can mathematically figure out the other 2 things on the card, and he proved it to me. It was amazing. I'm not going to tell you how to do that. That is unfortunate. I hope maybe in a second edition down the road or something that gets worked out because it's a super easy thing that you could change to stop that from happening. So technically the game's breakable and it's still this high on my list. I think this is an incredible deduction game every time, and it plays super fast. I have never only played this game one time. Every single time, someone will say, I think I have a purple 2 square. And it goes, oh, I was gonna guess on my turn. Can we play again? Like, I was so close. I was gonna guess. Like, and I always play. This is similar to what you said in Decrypto. I always play basically to where if someone guesses their card correctly, they win, but then we go around and we see how close everyone else can get. Okay, Bob, on the information you now have, guess your card, right? And we just kind of go around and see how close we can get, because most of the time, if you actually sit there, especially if you have new people, so like, let's say Tim guesses his card, he got it right. I can now go to Mike and I say, Mike, I guarantee you there's enough information on this table for you to figure out your card. You just haven't put it together yet. So now take your time and look at everything, and I promise you it's there.
Hang on, I'm still trying to process. You said Tim had it right?
Yeah, I know. But there is always, by the time you guessed your card, you probably could have guessed it like 4 turns earlier. It takes a while to put that information together.
And this is why I don't play games with Levi.
So Conclusio, guys, check it out. This is like a $10 card game.
Yeah.
It is so good. Check it out.
I finally got to play it this year at Origins. It was very fun. I liked it.
All right, Mike.
Okay, my number 15. Let's start the debate. It's Dune Imperium. So, yeah, this is one of my favorite Paul Dennen games. I think he's one of my favorite designers right now. The guy just keeps coming up with hits. But this one I really enjoy. I like how there's a lot of interaction because you got to pay attention to how many troops people get into battle. I like the way the deck building feels on this. I really like that mechanic where you're either using the card for a place to put your worker, or you're saving it and then you're getting these extra benefits out of that. That is such a cool mechanic. I still have not played it with Rise of X or Immortality. I've already stored them. I've already put them both in the base game box.
I played your copy of
Yes, I know. Last time I had a get together, it got played without me.
Yeah.
I haven't played it this year, so I think that's why it slipped just a couple spots. I mean, I had it at 12 last year, so this is not much. But it's fantastic. I really enjoy it.
This is like, I don't know, a top 10 game for me, but
We know.
So I've played with Ix multiple times. I think it's fantastic. I think you already know that. I will say also, fun little tidbit, Dune Imperium just came out on Steam. So I'm interested in picking it up, but I don't know if anyone else wants to. I'm not going to pick it up myself, but it is now available digital. I think that's why it's not on BGA. It's because they're trying to get money from the Steam version, right?
Got you. Okay.
But yeah, it did come out on Steam, and I want to play it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't, and I'm totally not pulling up the Steam app and seeing how much it is.
I think last time I checked, it was like 22. I know. I wish it was a little lower.
my wish list.
Even
Waiting
it's
for my
25.
sales.
It might come with both expansions. If it does, it's definitely worth 22.
He's right. It's $22.99. How
Yeah.
about that? Did you say it does come with
I
some
said
expansions?
I think it does. If it does, it's definitely worth it to me. If not, I don't know.
You know what needs
I'll
to
let you guys
happen?
know.
We need to check out the newer version of it.
Yes.
Uprising.
Yeah, Uprising.
Yeah.
I've heard good things.
As much as we all love this man's games and this one, we got to try that one.
Yeah.
I gotta play it again. I played it just the once.
Yeah, I played a couple times.
great.
Like, man, I feel like I get like really far ahead at the beginning. I'm like, all right, I need 1 or 2 more things to line up, and I'm gonna win this game in like under an hour.
then
And
we
it's like
shut you down.
2 hours later,
Right.
and it's like still struggling to get that last
Yeah.
point. You know, it's like stop thwarting me.
It makes the points feel meaningful, though. You
Super
got to
meaningful.
scratch
Yeah.
and claw.
When
So-
you get a point
every
in that
point.
game, you're like, I did it.
And that's weird because normally you
I
want
know.
like 100,000
I
points
know.
for it to feel good.
I know.
3 hours later, I'm at 10. I win.
I don't know how this game did it well, but it did it
Hey,
perfectly.
that's just a mark of like a game being well designed and like just hitting those sweet spots, right?
Dan took a marker and put zeros on all of his things.
That's
so it's
true.
Like, I got
Yeah,
100
just-
points now.
I mean, and I don't love super tight games either, but it just everything feels
Always
super
comes so
meaningful, and it just builds and builds, and the deck building feels incredible. It's just a fantastic game. There's a reason it's almost number 10 on BGG.
And that's
now.
one you can win without adding any cards to your deck. Is that what?
no,
somebody
that was
said?
Lost Ruins. Already.
Oh, okay.
You have to add cards and.
Okay.
You got a
You're
deck
not. You're
builder.
not going to win.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't want that in a deck builder.
Sure. Well, that's why it's
Where
not
the
a deck
deck
builder.
builder
It's
is
a
a-
worker placement.
But
with
deck builder is a primary component, though.
I actually didn't know that was possible in Arnak. Did we talk about that?
He brought it up.
I won last game, and I think I had 4 cards in my deck.
Wow.
Yeah, and none of them were like, oh, it's all these cool items I'm replaying every time. No, they were starter cards.
Wow,
so.
it sounds like a poorly designed game. I'm just kidding. Don't you?
Oh, yikes.
Or it was a well-designed strategy.
Give me a couple minutes. I'll have my defense ready.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Very
Anyways,
mad.
that brings us down to number 14. Number 14, I'm pretty sure will be well received by the table. It's been all over the place on my last couple of lists, 16, then 49, and now back down to 14 because I do enjoy this new expansion that just came out for it. My favorite Wolfgang Warsch game, Taverns of Tiefenthal. Taverns of Tiefenthal.
Bob, my 14 is Taverns of Tiefenthal.
That's happened twice. Last week and this week, right?
Yeah, that's hilarious. I can't even remember that from last
Anyway,
week.
continue. The entire time you were talking, I was like, oh my god, I know what he's about to say. This is crazy.
Fantastic. But yeah, this is a great tableau deck builder kind of game where you're trying to make your tavern the best, and as you're buying cards and like recruiting guests and recruiting workers, you're adding them right on top of your deck, which is one of my favorite things a deck builder could do because you're gonna get those cards right away. But then you're drawing cards and you're adding them to the different tables, or you're putting them in their appropriate worker spots, and then you're rolling dice and you're drafting dice and you're filling all those spots up with those dice that you're drafting to make money, make beer, recruit more people to attract more guests, so hopefully get some nobles in because they're big points. And then you're upgrading your modular board and flipping them over, then making room for more tables. Or if you have the new expansion, you have the rooms for rent up above, and you're getting to put people up there to take extra stuff in. And man, it's just really good, really great game. It's the modularity of it, like you can like make it easier for people who haven't played a lot of games. And it's kind of a word, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure
That's the definition of a Bobism. Is it's kind of a word.
That's what I was
word.
gonna say. Is even if it is a real word, just the way Bob says it, it's just like,
Is that a word?
It is. It's funny because it's a real word. It just sounded like a
It just
Bobism.
sounded like a
That's why
fake
I
word.
laughed.
Okay, cool. Anyways, but yeah, it's a great game. CD Dream Dan agrees.
I'll just say you guys have this ranked wrong. That's all I'll say about it. That's all I'll
I
say
want to
about it.
play the Open Doors expansion.
Oh, it's
I gotta
good.
try that.
Yeah, it's really good. At least a couple.
I don't think I
of
played it. I
modules
think
that
I
I've-
watched you guys.
You guys play it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that you guys like we wanted a lower player count, and I just sat and watched you guys play it. But it looked really
That's,
good.
It's a great
That's
game,
two deck builders in this 10 where bought cards go on the top of the deck.
Yep.
Love
That's-
that mechanic.
Yep, great mechanic for deck builder.
All right. My number 14 was 12 last year, so it moved a little. Australia. This is my favorite Martin Wallace game. This was the second Martin Wallace game I ever played.
Yeah.
Wildlands was the first one.
Okay.
I just love the way that you're building into Australia. You're building train tracks so you
Right.
can get those farms and stuff built. But as you do that, you're uncovering deep ones that have hidden, that have fled into the depths of Australia. So the more you push in, you know, then they
The
start
scarier
coming
they
out,
get. Yeah.
and you've got to stop them from reaching the sea. So everybody kind of has to work together a little bit.
Semi-co-op.
Yeah, semi-co-op, but it's also fine to let other people's farms get ravaged.
Sure.
And it also has this awesome sort of time mechanic with the action selection. So you can take any action you want, but it's going to move you up so many spots on that time track.
Yeah.
And then basically everybody else is going to take turns until they pass you, and then you get to go again.
Yep.
And so you can take multiple actions if they're the smaller time things. So you're like, go, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. The combat system's a little weird. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it, but it's fun to just get the different units and just like I just love so many different things about
the mechanism is great because you're like, okay, it takes this long to do this long to do this. So as you're taking actions, you're moving that many units at a time down this track, and then once you pass somebody else, okay, now they're gonna go.
They're gonna go.
And like, oh, I'm gonna build tracks from here to here. Okay, that's gonna take like 6 turns. So move 6 units forward, and then you gotta let other people catch up to you as you do that. Thing that takes a long time to do.
That's one of my favorite underrated mechanisms.
And
yeah, there should be more of that.
Have the expansions for it, but I haven't played them yet.
Same.
I'm dying to play this game again. I think Mike has not played it yet, so I'd love the opportunity to introduce you guys to that game. Hope you at least kind of enjoy it. I think it's really fun, obviously.
Yeah.
But I just love the crap out of this game.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
Yeah, I think it slipped off my list just because it's been so long since we played.
Yeah, totally fair. Yeah. Totally fair. And it dropped a couple spaces, but I mean, this is just a game that I just find really satisfying to play. So Australia.
My 14 was the Harvest of Tiefenthal. It was 20 last time, and I mean, everything Bob said. The only thing I guess I'll add is that this is one of the epitome to me of a game that says, let's just mix everything in a pot and see what happens, and it came out perfect. The deck building that's in here is not only good deck building, it's unique deck building. The tableau building, I'll call it, in here is not only good, it's unique. Like they somehow mixed a bunch of classic mechanisms together and made something that feels like nothing you've ever played before. They did a fantastic job.
Dice strategy. The biggest downfall that the game has is the friggin' wooden dice in there. I can't.
Sure, that doesn't bother me at all, but I know Bob hates it.
Wooden dice.
Square rule books, wooden dice.
I don't need a thud every time.
Stop. Says the guy who's like, I want the biggest, chunkiest dice I can have. But these little wood dice are really nice too. No.
Oh my god,
Use some
I like 'em.
normal dice. That's all I want. Just normal dice.
Is that?
That's normal die rolling.
Yeah.
What's wooden die?
I think it's a
What's wooden die
yo-yo is
rolling?
what he's doing.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah. Anyways.
Wow. All right, so I said I like Paul Denon games. My number 14 is Clank Catacombs. So, I guess you guys must have Clank higher than me. I know you guys love Clank. I had Clank in Space at number 26 last year. And the first couple times I played Clank Catacombs, I thought I played it fairly cautiously, and I died both times. And I just became obsessed with, I have to get through this game. And I just kept begging Bob to play it. Like, I still to this day am like, every time I come over, I'm like, well, we could play Catacombs. It's just one of those games, anytime, any place, I am always in the mood to play that game. And I do feel like, even though I have not played the campaign legacy versions, Acquisitions Incorporated, this is the best version of the game because you can't pre-plan out your route. It is completely tactical. It is reveal a tile. Okay, now I'll set my plan. And I just really feel like that eliminates some of those long-term strategies where people can plan out their route way in advance. This is just the best version of Clank, and I've always loved every other version of Clank I've played, and now this one is my favorite. So it went up. Yeah,
Clank in Space, I'll talk about on the live stream.
Okay. I gotta say also though, like, so I played all the way through Acquisition Incorporated. I played a ton of, like, almost every single, I think I have played every single Clank. I did finally play Clank in Space.
Really?
Yeah. Now, Acquisitions Incorporated is fantastic because you have your deck that you're working on, right? And you get to kind of like improve it as you go, and then you're plus building the board, which is super neat. Other than that fact alone, Catacombs is the best version because I love how the board is not preset and how everything changes game to game. And yeah, Catacombs is fantastic.
I wasn't even sure I liked it the first couple times. I'm like, this is too hard.
This is ridiculous.
I just like
Yeah.
be better.
I
I've only
became
played it twice,
determined to
and-
just keep playing it and get better at it, and I just found I couldn't get enough of the
To be-
game.
to be
I
fair,
got
we
a
said-
100% win rate on this game.
Yeah.
Out of like 4 plays. I'm like Dan
Tim's
over
done
here.
playing it.
Now, to be fair, I think the first time we played it, we put too many of the other tiles on there. and
Right,
it
the
really-
non-starter tiles
Yeah.
that are more combat focused.
Correct. Yeah. So that was a.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I've heard
Operator
other
error.
people say that this is their least favorite version. I'd
Oh,
say
they're
just
wrong.
play
They
it
are
again.
wrong.
Sorry.
Play it again.
It's
Yeah.
my least favorite version, but I've only played it twice. And evidently one of those might have been with harder tiles on top.
Yes.
But no Clank is on my list this year, and it doesn't look like any Clank was on my list last year. I just don't. They're fine. I think that plenty of other games have come out that are more interesting.
I believe last year I combined all of the clicks.
Yeah,
on
I
the-
did too, and they barely missed.
I did not put them all.
I did not combine them.
All right, so that's going to take us to number 13. So my number 13 was number 6 last year, and I think it's dropped because I haven't gotten to play it, but I really want to play it so bad. Perseverance, Castaway Chronicles by Mind Clash Games. It is crunchy. It's very crunchy, but like what they're doing with this Perseverance Castaway Chronicles. So those episodes 1 and 2 are out now. Episodes 3 and 4 are coming, and they all kind of continue on each other. So you see a lot of the same like iconography throughout, which so kind of makes it easier to learn going forward. And there's the boards. If you ever see a Mind Clash game board, there's a million things going on that board. But once you train your eye to find the icons and what they mean, it's like reading another language, right? It makes it so easier. It's like, okay, yeah, there's that. That means this, and it makes so much sense. Their iconography is always so strong through all of their games. But like in the first one, you're this ship that's crashed, and you're on this island, and you're trying to establish like this beachhead to kind of like build a community and everything. But there's all these dinosaurs are just coming in, so you're building up defenses, and you got to send people out to defend against those attacking dinosaurs, and you're sending people out on missions to go do things, and you're sending guys to protect the actual buildings that you've got set up. And then in the second one, you've established your beachhead. Now you're trying to start exploring out and go see what's out in the jungle, and you're riding dinosaurs. Who doesn't want to ride a dinosaur? That's so cool. And there's just so much you can do with these games, and there's just like politics involved where you're like voting on like leaders and whatnot, and like whoever becomes the leader of certain areas, you get like special bonuses and stuff like that. And there's so much of these games, and it's a ton of fun. I just wish that I could get more people to sit at the table and play this game with me, because unlike Anachrony that Mike and I have started to play on BGA a lot now, it's just something that it takes a long time to get it on the table and to play it, and it's a big time. I don't want to say time sink, but it's a commitment. We'll say it's a big time commitment for sure.
Yeah. No,
I haven't played it.
It looks cool. I'd love to give it a shot, but again, it's sort of like, hey, come over. We're playing this, right?
Set 3 hours aside. We're gonna play.
Right.
It's not gonna take the whole 3 hours to play, but to kind of set everything up, teach everything, and to play through. It's gonna be a good 120 minutes, like solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool. All right, my 13. It's the only new game on this week's list. And it's kind of ironic now that I think about it. Halloween.
Mm.
13. Halloween. Unlucky. Murder.
Jason
wrong
Voorhees.
movie, but sure.
I know, but parallel.
Could have been
Adjacent.
the 31st,
Adjacent.
right?
Adjacent.
Jason? No, it's Michael.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Anyways, this is my second favorite hidden movement game of all time. I absolutely love this game for all the reasons that Dan described when we talked about it previously. Because wasn't it you and Bob too, right? Because you had it on your list as well.
Yep.
The tension playing this. I have yet to play as Michael Myers, and I freaking love this game. I cannot wait to play as Michael Myers because I want to succeed where you fools
you'll
have
lose
failed.
because it's hard.
I mean, mine was like the learning game, so like my loss doesn't really count.
Well,
Play a full game.
here's the thing: is that when you were Michael Myers and we won. It was so crazy to watch the different strategies, like because Dan really utilized like teleporting to different parts of not teleporting, but moving to
Fast
different
walking.
parts of the board, and you just never knew
Where he was at.
where he's at, where he's gonna pop in. And then when I played with Bob, I had Bob psyched out. It was so good because I'm like jump in a window,
Back inside.
and then
Back in the
Bob's
window.
like,
And I'm
well,
like,
there's no way he's gonna go right back in the window because that's such
Super
an
inefficient.
super inefficient move. And I'm like, do you even know me?
You underestimate my power.
You underestimate my stupidity,
That's
sir.
more accurate.
But it was such a fun experience. I mean, we're playing this game, we're all laughing, everybody's freaking out because you just don't know. You're
where
like,
he's at.
Because every time you end your move, you're like, I'm going to place my guy facing this way.
Nope. Don't
Wait,
see
you're
anything.
like, crap. And I don't know if it's better or worse.
Right.
Because I don't actually
Want to see it.
want to see it sometimes because it's like, it can be so bad. But then when we immediately, like within 2 turns of the very first game we play, where we see how the facing goes horribly wrong because Dan is immediately behind him with a knife, you're just like, I don't know what's better or worse. I really don't. This game's super fun. Emerson Matsuuchi, Trick or Treat Studios. They just frickin' crushed this. I mean, they captured the feeling of the movie. It's just a wonderful representation of this IP. I thoroughly enjoy this game. If I ever got to meet Emerson Matsuuchi, I'd be like, Halloween, dude. Like, I'm sure people go at him with a ton of other games. They're all, really good. But man, Halloween for me, it's just top notch. It's super good.
The only thing that would make it better is if, like, when you open the box, you just hear the music.
So speaking of a horror show,
Yeah.
my number 13 is Watergate.
It is. It is.
Watergate was 21 last year, and it's just my favorite 2-player game of all time. It's like 2-player only game of all time. It's fantastic. One person takes on the Nixon administration, and one person takes on the news outlet. I can't remember what they're
the Washington
called.
Post.
Yeah, they have a faction name in the game. That's
Oh,
not that.
sure.
I don't remember what they call it.
Bernstein.
But
Journalist.
basically, you're just fighting over the narrative, is what the game is. It's just a
Fight the
really
propaganda, baby.
Yeah, it's just a really good game. The Nixon administration has like well, I guess both do. In the center of the game, there's a spatial element where basically in the middle of the board is like the evidence or whatever, right? Or the proof, rather. And around the board is a bunch of like witnesses.
Reporters and stuff.
Yeah, and stuff like that. And so the news outlet is trying to collect these people or pieces of evidence and build the evidence from at least 2 people to the center. They want to connect the evidence
Follow
to
the
the
money.
to the center, to the administration. Meanwhile, Nixon, if he gets the evidence, he turns it upside down so it's blank and it doesn't count, and he's basically blocking the lines. Like he gets to put it down and block the lines, and also he can just remove the reporters from the board so that you can't build from that person anymore. Right? Like there's really, really interesting stuff going on here. Not just history lessons, like if you actually read the cards and stuff, like it's like really educational stuff on the cards, but also just a really, really fun tug of war game. You literally are tug of warring over everything in the game. The first player marker is sitting here. The what's the word? I can't remember. There's a red marker on there that is a win condition, and then there is the evidence itself, and all of those you're playing cards on, and you're pulling them back and forth, and whoever side they're on at the end of the round gets everything. Anything that's on your side, you get. So if the first player marker's on my side, I'm now first player. I now get this evidence, and I now get momentum. That's what it's called. This momentum token, and it's whoever accomplishes their goal first. It is a fantastic, tense, tactile or tactical and tactile 2-player game. I highly recommend it. It's very affordable.
It was good.
I bought it, haven't played it, but I bought it because I love the theme. I think that's such an interesting time in our history to talk about. And then Dan has just raved about this game. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, my number 13, the debate continues. Lost Ruins of Arnak.
So close. You were so close to being right.
They're very close to me. I know it's only because similar mechanics, same year release. I even bought them at similar times. I really enjoy both. That's why they're both in my top 20. But they are drastically different games because, as Bob said, you can win a game of Lost Ruins of Arnak without really buying a whole lot of cards. You could have 6 cards in your whole deck and win. And so what I like about this one is the exploration theme really shines here. I like exploring new regions and having to use an icon from my card to travel to that region. And I like how there's a guardian that shows up. And
I like the fighting
by the way,
guardians.
I love the guardian art and the components for this retail release from CGE Games. My goodness, the components are excellent for a retail game. But everything just feels really good in this game. I like the resource management, and I like how essentially I'm just trying to extend my turn as long as I can. And that in games really, really hits for me. I just like where, we talked about this with Hadrian's Wall. It's like, I'm getting these workers, I'm going to put them in here, and then I'm going to get this stuff, and then put it in here. And Lost Ruins does that for me. It takes deck building and turns it into like this tactical thing where I'm buying a card for what it can get me right now. Right. It's not necessarily what it's going to do for my deck in the future. You've got all those, the blue cards.
Artifacts.
The artifacts that you get to activate right away. And those are so much feeding into your resource engine and extending your turn every round. And that just feels fantastic for me. So I just really enjoy this one. I'm ready to put Expedition Leaders in my copy and get it played, because I'm still putting it this high on just the base game. Okay. So variable player powers.
And there's another expansion too that's out.
Right.
Yeah,
with the
played that one
co-op kind of campaign.
That sounds super interesting.
Yeah, it does. So
I'm really surprised that the Indiana Jones feel doesn't knock that up a notch for Dan.
It just doesn't nail it.
It doesn't have the
Fortune
deck
and
building's
glory,
not that important.
Fortune and glory.
Yeah.
The deck building's not that important.
Right. I actually almost brought up, slightly off topic, but I almost brought that up to turn extension during Wayfarers, right? Because it's that same kind of
same thing.
Yeah, there is that.
Turn
for
extension is a really good feeling in a game, even when it's not necessarily the best thing you could be doing right now. Like, no, end your turn, you get your resources, start over, but it's like, but I could go one more time.
Nuclear does that for me. It's like, well, I could recharge and get my stuff back.
Right.
Play a couple more of these tiles and do something else. Yeah, I really like that, Matt. Okay, so that's going to take us to number 12.
12.
So this one's been talked about. I'm not sure if it was today or last week, but it's been talked about a couple of times, I know for sure. Resurgence. Wow. Yeah, I really love like the bag building and the putting your workers out behind the screen in these 3 different areas, and then you reveal while everybody else reveals. You're like, ooh, okay, I better go here soon before I have to pay extra resources to go, because Mike's got 3 dudes going to that same area. And you're taking all these actions on the board. You're building up these combos with all of your people you're recruiting. You're upgrading your own little base so that you can just take actions there, so you don't have to worry about what people are doing on the board. And it's just super satisfying. I really like the art. I don't care I have a misprint in it. But yeah, it's fantastic. And like, as you're assigning the guys to these different areas and you reveal, depending on what your strength is in that area, and if you have like you're setting the most of like control of that area, there's these tracks up top. And as you move up those tracks, you're going to be calling dudes from the bag, getting rid of your normal workers, so you have just specialty workers left, and you're going to be getting bonuses of points and resources for doing that. And it's just super satisfying way to do a lot of things at one time with just a few workers, and it's good.
The only thing I can think of is I remember when we played the game last, I wished that reaching the end of those tracks was more important, and I can't remember why I thought that, but I remember thinking that.
Well, it's a lot of work to get all the way to the end, and yeah, you don't get a ton for reaching the end, but I think it just wants you more to just sort of diversify a little bit, right? Because that way you're doing more different things instead of just focusing on the one thing. But yeah, we just taught this game JuliaCon to the board game mechanics. And they really enjoyed it.
Jason talked about it on his show, and he really liked it quite a bit. All right.
That's it.
My number 12 was my number 19 last year. This is my favorite hidden movement game. Mind Management, the psychic espionage game. This game, I love the art style. I love the way that you are trying to deduce as the people that are trying to find the hidden person moving around. Not only are you trying to like catch them, but you're trying to deduce what they're going for, and then you can start to eliminate those things to then make it more difficult for them as they're racing, sort of against each other, right? Because you've got so many turns or they can hit an the objective of like recruiting, so many people by going to those spots. And the way that they can move, it's sort of like Snake, right? You can't double back over, except you do have a one-time use power, but you don't know which one they have. So you don't know if they can like hop over adjacent or like orthogonally, or there's like a diagonal movement one that'll let you go. Here's the thing that really puts this game over the top for me is, well, there's two things. The shift system. If we played this game as a group, right? Bob's a hidden movement guy, and he just runs away with it. And it's like, dang it. Well, we're going to play again. But now the people that are seeking that hidden person, we open up this little pack, and that gives us an extra power, and I won't spoil what some of them are. But now, if he still wins with that, well, guess what?
You get another pack.
We get another pack.
And also, we suck.
But then it starts to balance. But then it also it's a really kind of a very cool way to introduce new rules into the game and make it a little more complicated every time you play.
Yeah, it makes it feel like a mini Legacy.
It kind of does. It kind of does, and you can just reset it. Put it all back. And then the other thing that I absolutely love about this game is there's hidden cards in the game that you just go, if you can find it. There you go to this site and it'll tell you, and it's like, oh, you found this. And sometimes it's like just little Easter egg things, but sometimes it's legit cards that you can add into the game. And now, you've got extra powers to choose from.
Right. Basically, the whole thing with the theme and everything is like subliminal messaging and all this kind of thing. And you can literally find hidden secrets on like the box and the rule book. And
the insert.
Yeah, just check it out.
It's very satisfying.
That's pretty unique.
For me. I really enjoy this game. I also like how it's got the little dry erase discs, and so you're like, oh yeah, I think that you might be able to know that on turn 4 I was in this square, right? So you can put that there. It's for sure. But you could also put like 4 question mark, right? Like if you don't know, if you haven't confirmed. It's just one of the other things you can do. And then also the Seekers all have asymmetric powers, but like when do we fire them off? Is it worth firing off? It kind of gives me that same vibe with like Letters from Whitechapel, where it's like, well, I think Jack is here, but I'm not sure. Do I waste my action just going for the arrest?
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
Right.
Or, do I search and see if he was there? Because there's a good chance he actually is there right now.
Right.
And so I really love sort of that quandary, and like everybody gets all worked up, like, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure when to go and what to do with it. I just really enjoy this game, and I think it's awesome.
I've been trying to think of like, what is it about this game that I don't care for? I think it has to do with when you're the one, you have to move like that snake form. I mean, I know it makes it more difficult.
I don't mind that,
but like, I'm just trying to figure out what
because
it is
like Captain
about
Sonar is great.
Yeah, but I see I'd rather play that because there's just a lot more chaos.
Sure.
Yeah, I do think that Mind Management has a bit of like overhead. Again, I don't dislike the game at all. It's good. But and I was gonna say too, because you brought up, I think my favorite aspect of the game is the dry erase number.
Yeah, it's just a cool component, right?
Every time I play a different worker placement game or a different hidden movement game, I wish that was in there.
Yeah,
I was just playing White Home Mystery the other day, and the person had some clues out, and they said, I just wish I knew which move this was. Like if I knew that this was 5 or 4, that makes a difference. And I'm just like, trust me, I know. That's a great system in Mind Management, is being like, okay, we know on 4 he was here, so like this could be 5. Like that's a great.
Well, and if the game ends kind of early, you can re-rack, add that extra power, and play again.
Right.
And still have a pretty good experience, because I don't feel like it overstays its welcome. There is a little bit of overhead because there's kind of a lot to teach with it because of all the extra rules and the extra abilities.
The different abilities that the capturers can do with the questioning and stuff, and eliminating the cards in that deck. It just has a lot of overhead compared to other ones, but it's good.
It does, yeah. But to me, I guess it just adds like sort of like a little bit of a crunchy level to it that I appreciate. A little extra seasoning in there to zhuzh it up. So yeah, 12 is Mind Management Psychic Espionage game.
My 12 was 10 last year. It just missed the 10 this time, and that was cha-ching, Shadow Network.
Hey, we're pillaging you.
Shadow Network by Talon Strike Studios is a worker placement, resource conversion, contract fulfillment game, and it is all those things in an A+ fashion. I love this game. Bob was actually talking about wanting to play this recently. Like I talked about, hey, I could teach that game, and Bob was like, yes, please.
Yeah.
Like he was acting like he hadn't played it in a while.
I hadn't played it since we previewed it.
Oh my God, it's been that long?
It's been that long.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, and you haven't played it yet, right?
No, we reviewed it.
Oh, you were in the review?
Yes,
Okay,
you,
cool.
me, and Spencer.
Cool. Okay. Because that's right, the preview was way before that and you weren't in, obviously, and then the review itself you were in.
He wasn't
right.
a part of the show then. I don't
Right,
think.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's why I said obviously. So this is a Cold War themed game where you are putting out workers on a board to get resources, pretty basic stuff. And then one of the really interesting things in this game is the board has a self-seeding mechanism, which is super thematic to the Cold War espionage thing, where basically you're capturing intel when you go to location. So, okay, I go to London and I get some intel, but while I'm in London, other intel leaks to other positions, right? And so basically it's saying, okay, since you went here, you get to put a good in one of these locations, upping the
Like value of
value of that space. Now I might be like, oh, I wasn't planning on going there, but now I get an extra free, red. Sure, I'll go there now, right? So that's that. But then 90% of the game takes place when it's not your turn. Like literally, you go, okay, it's my turn. I'll put out a worker. I'll take my goods, and then you'll go to the black market if you want to, and that's the end of my turn. And then all you do on the entire round around the table is you work on your resource conversion. Okay, I can turn 2 yellow and a green into this suitcase, which bumps this up, which gets me 2 money because that was a benchmark. And then okay, I'm gonna activate this guy that turns 1 yellow into 2 blue, and now that I have 2 blue, I can put that together. And all you're doing in your game is converting resources. It is incredible. It is such a great feeling. I really like this game, and it's another game that I tend to talk about games like this that I just feel like no one has heard of, unfortunately.
It's a small publisher, right? It's Talon Strike Studios, and then it looks like it's Rafael Rosario, and I don't know if that person has designed any other games or not, but this game's really damn good. It really is.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yep. It's got those conversions from Century Spice Road, but it's on crack.
Yeah.
And the fascinating thing is that you can do so much when it's not your turn. I was telling Spencer to slow down. I was still doing things when it came back to my turn. I'm like, hold up, I'm still doing stuff.
I think that's a sign of the apocalypse.
Yeah, that too. But it's just amazing how much you can do when it's not your turn. Literally zero downtime.
But that was one of the first things when I remember when we were previewing that game and playing it, and we were just like kind of blown away at how well that mechanic works.
I currently own 3 copies of this game. I have the preview version we had, my own copy that I got, and this in shrink copy right here, which actually is the copy, ding ding ding, that we're giving away to a subscriber. We finally decided. This game's been sitting here forever. I was so thankful that everyone here went out of their way to get me this game.
We wanted to get Dan a copy of the game because he loved it so much.
And they already knew that I was getting a copy, but they were hoping that basically there was a special thing we tried to do with the components.
It didn't work.
That didn't work. So we have this extra copy, and like I just didn't want to do with it because I don't want to get rid of it. It was such a meaningful gift, but also it's like it's just gonna sit here. I want someone else to be able to play the game, and so finally during a live stream, we decided to enter it into a giveaway. And
Dan was generous enough to offer up one of his all-time favorite games, even though he did have another copy. But he did offer up one of his all-time favorite games, which is very cool. But again, like a lot of that is I just want people to love, like get to see a game that I love so much. Like take a chance on it. Check it out. So
take a chance. Take it out.
If any of that sounds good to you, please check it out.
And if Bob singing ABBA sounds good to you, then see a doctor.
Get that hearing checked.
All right, Mike.
All right, another 2023 release. Sky Team. Woo! This is crazy. I think Bob has this ranked higher than me. He hasn't mentioned it yet, and I'm just like, it didn't make his list, so it's either next or it's next week, and that's blowing my mind. Okay, look. We've said this before. I'm going to repeat it. If you haven't checked out any games from Scorpion Mask or Hachette, you are missing out. These guys keep firing off home runs. Last year, they sold out of Turing Machine and Acropolis at Gen Con. This year, they sold out of Sky Team at Gen Con. I picked this game up at Gen Con at the beginning of August. It is my most played game. I have 27 plays of this. Wow. Every time I play it, I'm going to play it 4 or 5 times in a row. It's the best 2-player game, and you can play it in 15 or 20 minutes. I just love the decisions. I love the tension of that, where you can't communicate with your partner. You don't know what dice they're going to use. There's tons of modules to add in this game, which just ramps up the replayability. You can play it 4 times in a row and use 4 completely different modules, or 4 mixtures of modules. It all just depends on the airport that you pick. They can be longer, and they can add different stuff in there. It is just so freaking good.
It also
Done so
has our
so
most
good.
horrifying thumbnail. Is our review of SkyTeam.
Bob's neck.
The thing just haunted my dreams.
I love it. Absolutely
It's hilarious. Man, this is crazy to think that Bob has this ranked higher
Dan, was
than
this
I
on your
do.
list too? Did you have
yes.
this on your list? I thought you did.
Yeah, I mean it's so good, right? I mean, like, and even so many things that were done so well about it. So it's kind of like a dual layered. But the way they did, it was so smart. The way they did the dual layered is that it's creased, so you fold it over, and it comes with little stickies that you put on there, and it sticks it together. That's so much smarter than like people are trying to do the glue, because then the glue goes over the ocean for 30 days, and then everything warps and it becomes bent. and it's
Yeah,
just,
they warp.
Yeah, and then like the plane tracks slide in and out, and then
Different
your altitude
game.
slides in and out, and then but there's little feet on the bottom of your dual layer board that lets that slide in and out there so easy, so it's not dragging and pulling everything around. Like, it's so smart.
And there's even a stopper, so it
And
stops
yeah,
at
it
the
stops.
exact right
yeah,
part.
where it's supposed to stop at. I mean, it's just so many things they did right with this game. Like, it's so cool, like the little plane they have, so because your plane's got tilt, because planes tilt left to right. Learn. And then, and then as you put your
Rude.
dice out there, depending on what
didn't know
value you
that.
have, like, it'll tilt one way or the other. And it's just this little see-through piece of plastic with the plane on there, and you tilt. It's just so simple, but it looks so good, like on the
Yeah.
table. Like, man, it's super smart.
Placing your dice on the engine to move your plane forward.
Yeah.
But there's plane traffic, so you got to get on the
Gotta get out of
radio
the
and
way.
get those planes out of your
Yeah.
path.
It
There's
makes me
so
want
many.
a U-boot style simulator of an airplane flying.
There you go.
down.
Yeah.
Like a fast 2-player version
Right.
of that.
Yeah.
Or a 4-player where you're playing as in teams against each other.
Oh, there you go.
2 and 2.
You get
Each
somebody on the
got
guns
one.
trying to, or like dogfighting game like that.
It just
That could be
blew my
interesting, too.
mind.
But like, so there's kerosene, there's interns, there's ice breaks, there's wind, there's
Special
turns,
abilities, and there's 6 different
there's-
ones to choose from.
Yes, I mean, there's just so much going on with this game.
There's
It's fantastic.
Like 15 different airports you can pick.
Yeah, and
They
some
have
of them have
varying
different
difficulty.
seasons. Yeah,
You can play real time. You want to talk
Oh my
about
gosh.
nuts? You get 1 minute to play an
place your
entire
dice.
round.
Yeah.
So
An
you got to do
entire
all your
round.
communication
Yes.
before the round starts, and then you roll and you just start placing.
Yeah.
Okay.
As soon as you roll, start that
Yes.
timer,
I
and you got
haven't
1
done
minute
that.
to get all
1
your dice
minute
placed
timer.
out. And so, like, each round, each person has to place a die in the engine each, and a die in the tilt each. Your other 2 die can go wherever you need them to go to either put your landing gear down, or to get your flaps to the right position, or to make sure the brakes are charged up, or get some coffee, whatever you got to do. But yeah, it's just so much.
Man, you about to talk about this game or something?
I hope so. I know it's coming up. It just like the thing is, since we even ranked our top 50, it slid up. I had it in the high teens. It just we keep playing it on
Yeah,
BGA.
I got over 30
cannot
plays of this game.
Get enough of this game. It just kept moving up.
It's I mean, it's no Watergate, but it's really good. It was 35 for me, by the way.
It's fantastic.
I haven't talked about it yet.
I wonder if you will.
Interesting.
Uh,
Not today.
You're 11. The last one.
It's 11.
Wow.
It's not 11. I'm going to break the news to you right now.
Last
it's not 11.
one for the day.
So that's right. Number 11. So this game definitely suffers from setup fatigue. But it is a fantastic game by friend of the show, Sir Glenn Drover. Mosaic, A Story of Civilization. I love this game. It's not as civvy as I would like. It's more like, I do love that word. It is more of a I want to say area control, area majority game, but you are still playing these different civilizations. You have these asymmetrical abilities. You're getting all these new techs, and then the new expansion just came out, the War and Disasters. I feel like that really made the military useful. Like a lot of in the earlier games I played, you wouldn't really build maybe a couple military units to try to get like a few more influence in a certain area, but now like the military does military things. You actually can fight and kill off other units and take control of areas, and man, I really enjoy this game. I wish it was easier to set up to get to the table, because having to put all those pieces out, then flip them all over, and then pull 70% of them off the board again. It's a little fatiguing, right? It takes a lot of work. So I try to have it set up as much as I can before people come over. But man, this game is really good, and I just think more people should play it.
It unfortunately suffers from one of the most tedious setups of any game I've ever played.
Yep.
I've never had to set it up. I've been really wanting to play this again. I don't know if I'll love it. I mean, I liked it the first time, but I've been dying to play a good Civ game lately. Like, I like Civ games, especially video games, and I've been really wanting to play a good Civ board game again.
But how do you feel about games that are Civ-y?
They're pretty good. Like Tapestry is like Civ-y.
There's a game coming out next January, Dan, that I think you will really like.
Okay, yeah, because I really want that. The problem is because I want, like, you start with nothing and then you upgrade your tools, you upgrade your civilization. Like, I want all that in a game, but also I don't really like combat. Like, when I play like the video game Civilization, I go for like science victories. I go for culture victories. I don't care about having 30,000 military units, and so I don't see a lot of that in board games. Like, I've been wanting to play Magnus Rex again too. Like, I've been wanting to play more Civ games. So
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, last one I'll talk about today was number 7 on last year's list, and like I said, it was an amalgamation of all of these. Clank, a deck building adventure. The OG Fantasy Clank is my number 11. I just think it is an awesome deck building game. I love the board. I love that the deck, it is, I got, there was somebody on a group, like a Facebook group, that was like, oh, best bag building games. And I said Clank. And they're like, that's not a bag building game. I'm like, yeah, it is. You just don't want to build that bag.
That's right.
Like, just because you don't want to add stuff to it does not make it not a bag builder. And then
emptying
people
game.
kind of started coming around, like, I get it. And yeah, it's pretty good. But they don't think of it as a bag builder.
That's like people should stay tuned. Should check out your top 10 food oriented games.
Yeah, it's all food.
It's all food.
It's just a matter of perspective.
That's right.
Don't, if you want to take us seriously.
But anyways, just Clank is so good. I just love this game. Renegade Games and also Direwolf Studios. This is when they were still the same, or they had worked together to get this out. This game is just so much fun. Even if somebody rushes sort of the end, I think you can still win, because you're just going to push your luck and get down in there, get some of those good things, and then get back up above ground. Even if it's just enough to still score your points without the bonus. Because a person that rushes that end game, honestly, they're missing out on a lot. And I kind of just have so much fun playing that I like to hang out and try
to getting stuff and picking.
Yeah, it's just satisfying. I find the cards hilarious. I love the jokes and the flavor text and the style of cards.
Yeah, the art's good and everything.
Yeah,
especially the newer editions make the long game more viable. The first edition, I think that's what they fixed, is that it's not as punishing if you stay out and meander around a little bit.
Right.
The short game is very almost unbeatable in the first edition.
Yeah, I guess. I've seen it done, but I haven't been a part of a game where they've won. Because
they dip down, grab that like 5-pointer, then get out real quick.
And they went out. Like, no, because it's so easy to beat them because they've got so few points. They
get the 20 for getting out and the 5 for that. And it's like, okay, if I can break 30,
stay alive. The Clank damage is not as punishing in the newer editions as it is first edition.
Yeah.
First edition, you probably will not survive if you hang out.
There's not as many healing cards in the first edition.
But I just still love the crap out of Clank.
Which version's your favorite?
I'm not going to talk about that yet.
Okay. I'm just proud that Tim's got other deck builders ahead of DC now.
Right?
Yeah.
Finally
Proud
coming
of you,
around.
Tim.
growing up.
Our little boy.
Listen, it's just what Clank does. It's such a fun experience.
It's amazing.
And
That mesh of the deck builder and board game together.
I cannot wait to play Acquisitions Incorporated. Have not played that yet. I have one.
Talked about starting that up so many times.
Yep. We have. If only people would show up at 11:30.
We weren't going to play that today.
Or me on any day other than Sunday.
Yeah, that's true too.
Well, Friday nights work great. Tim, come on over.
Yeah, no kidding.
I can't imagine liking regular more than space. I can't imagine.
Space is, we'll talk about on the live show.
Especially with the modular board.
Right. It's literally just the regular game, but interesting.
But in space. No, I don't know. I think in space is fine. I don't dislike it. I have it in my collection. I'm glad I have it in my collection, but I like the regular version better. Anyways, but that's also counting the extra expansions, like the Sunken Treasure.
That's true, though. The original has way more and better
with the mummy.
expansions.
Yeah. Anyways, Dan.
Funny story, Tim. My number 11 was 7 last year, same as yours that you just said. But mine is Lords of Hellas. Yeah, so Lords of Hellas is an Awakened Realms game. We've talked about it in the past, I think, on Mike's.
My list.
Mine
It fallen,
yours?
yeah, I'd already
Okay.
talked about it. Yep.
But yeah, this is a. Well, I always want to say it's an area control game, but really that's just a quarter of the game. I mean, it's a game where there's 4 victory conditions, and you just want to try to do one of them. That's how it works out.
Yeah, the
What were you
theme
gonna
is,
say?
no, the theme's
Sounds
great.
right.
Theme's great, really fun. It's
Yep.
like my 43 now or
It's got that
something.
mechanism where you know what actions everybody's taking, and you have to take an action to get all your actions back, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But instead of being cards, it's a board.
Well,
Yep.
and it's not just, it's when someone takes that action, everyone gets
Everyone
their,
gets their
Everyone
cards.
wipes.
Okay.
Yeah.
things back. It's just fantastic, like a Greek cyberpunk, kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, I
just,
love that aesthetic. It's
There's a
That's
different
really
word
good.
for it than cyberpunk, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
But it's just the components are great. I love the gameplay. I love the win conditions. This is a fantastic game. I've never messed around with. There's like a campaign version that you can play.
I
through.
played the solo mode, which kind of does something like that.
Oh,
And so
that might be what it
depending
is.
on
It's just that it's called like the campaign book, and I
Yeah.
think it's just the solo mode.
Yeah, I played it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Some of the most amazing miniatures in a game.
Yep.
I really want to play with some of the expansions, like other than the
Tell me
fifth
about
player
it.
expansion or whatever,
Yeah.
or the extra. Like I want to play with
There's Atlas, Hades, Kronos.
Yeah, Hades. Yeah. I want to play
I
with
feel
those.
like Hades is the one that most people do have. I don't know why. It must have been the most available. Because
Yeah,
I feel
maybe.
like a lot of people have that
Maybe.
one. But I just don't want to talk too much about it. We've talked about it before. We'll talk about it again. I love Lords of Hellas. I'm looking forward to Lords of Ragnarok.
Yep, me too.
All right, all these 7s that fell back to 11. My 8 fell back to 11.
Oh,
Just
weird.
missed it.
It's Blood Rage. Blood Rage is fantastic, of course, from Simon and Eric Lang. And
Friend of
I've
the show.
just come to realize I really adore area control games that have Euro mechanics in them. That term doesn't really mean anything like it used to. And really, part of that is because of Eric Lang. He made all these hybrid games that combine war games and kind of Amerithrash elements and combine them with action selection and movement efficiency. And the game always starts with a draft, and I think that's why this one stands the test of time for me, is that depending on the cards that you're dealt, completely changes the strategies from game to game. It very much does. I just find this game still fantastic. I just didn't get it to the table this year, so that's why it fell. It nearly still stayed in my top 10. But Blood Rage is just one of those games that I will never get tired of. It doesn't overstay its welcome. You get a lot of game in there, even with 4 players, usually right around 90 minutes. It's fantastic. It's a bit unforgiving for new players, but a lot of drafting games are. The first time you see cards, and you haven't done anything else, all you do is you just got a hand of cards, you got to pick one.
You're
You
like,
just don't know how they're going to synergize on other cards.
Yep.
That's just a fault of every drafting
And,
game.
you
It is
know,
what it is.
That's a game where everybody like, hey, we're gonna play around,
Yep.
and then we're just gonna reset. Like you're gonna play around so you can see how these mechanics work. Don't get attached to it. We're gonna
And it
reset.
just adds like
That's-
15 minutes to the game.
Yeah,
or something.
it's not
That's
that
what
bad.
I've been saying to do for quite some time because I've done that effectively. As that's always been my solution, is just play the first round twice.
It's I'll talk about it on the live show.
Because it's
a good game.
yeah, you can play the first round in like 20, 30 minutes, and then people see what the cards do, and then they're like, oh, if I would have known that card did that.
Right.
That always happens with new players. So, yeah, it's great, though. It's really good.
Oh, if I had known how broken the Loki strategy was.
Right. If I known you were going to attack me, I would have gone somewhere else.
All right, we're gonna run through all of our lists, and like all the other ones, we're gonna
All
give
right.
our seals of approval.
All right, are we ready?
I'm waiting for Dan to get a thumb up.
Dan.
Start
Two.
with. I gotta reorganize my thing. Start with
Oh, yeah.
20.
Yes. So starting with 20, we have XCOM, the board game, Catan, Starfarers, The Letters from Whitechapel, Heat, Pedal to the Metal, After Us, After the Empire, The Taverns of Tiefenthal, Perseverance, Castaway Chronicles, Resurgence, and Mosaic.
So no thumbs down for me. The only the only ones were just I haven't played them.
Haven't played. Yeah.
So
Nice.
all right. Prepare all the thumbs ups. Here we go. Number 20, For Sale. 19, A War of Whispers. 18, Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. 17, Kemet. 16, Unfathomable. 15, Catan Starfarers. 14, Australia. 13, Halloween. 12, Mind Management. And 11, Clank. OG Clank.
OG Clank. Wow.
Keeping track of the ones I want to play for your guys' list.
Yeah, it's tough.
I don't know where.
All yours better be thumbs up, buddy. You're doing it.
Robinson Crusoe, Adventures on the Cursed Island, Court of the Dead, War of the Ring, the card game, Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig, Wayfarers of the South Tigris, Conclusio, The Taverns of Tiefenthal, Watergate, Shadow Network, and Lords of Hellas.
All right. Mine are Planet Unknown, Bora Bora, Splendor, Duel, Ready Set Bet, Trajan, Dune Imperium, Clank Catacombs, Lost Ruins of Arnak, Sky Team, Blood Rage.
I had a terrible experience with Blood Rage. It's famous.
It happens.
Yep. So yeah, Tim, I don't want to play Unfathomable because I've been wanting to play that game for a long time.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's
We
go.
need to get a game of that.
What do you got off of Dan?
Dan, Shadow Network. Let's do it. I want to do it up.
And Mr. Mike?
Mr. Mike, I think I'm going to try Trajan because you said the Mancala, you're talking about all the timing, and a lot of the games I've got on my list this time are timing types of
Timing's
games, and I
important.
think that that would work out good.
All right, so from Bob's list, I had Perseverance first, but I think I want to play Mosaic more.
Okay.
But I want to play both of those. Dan's list, it's got to be Watergate. I bought the game on the strength of it. I originally wrote Robinson Crusoe just because I want to play his new like baller edition because I like OG Robinson Crusoe. It's punishing, but it's really fun. And then Bora Bora, I picked the
Bora Boring.
other
Boring.
the other one
you really
that you
love
talk about all the time.
Gives me a hard time because I mention it all the time.
But no, I mean I want to play it. I haven't played it.
Yeah, if
Sounds
we play
good.
it, he'll shut up.
Well, really? Probably not.
Doubt
Are
it.
you changing yours then?
Well, if he's going to shut up about it, I'm going to change it.
Okay, mine for Bob, Perseverance. I think it's the only one of yours I hadn't played, so
Okay.
that kind of defaulted up because I always want to say the ones I haven't played first. Sure. But I mean, Mind Clash makes good stuff and it looks interesting.
Right.
Tim, Australia, never played.
Yeah,
you
let's
guys
go.
talk it up.
Let's go.
And Mike, Bora Bora, okay?
Yes.
or Trajan. I haven't played either.
Yeah,
so.
I played Trajan too. I don't care.
All right. Everybody's played Between Two Castles, but me.
Yep.
Wow.
So
okay.
I know. I still haven't played that one. War of the Ring, I'd like to play. I got to play After the Empire. Starfarers, you know I love Catan.
Yeah.
And everybody says it's the best version.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Then Australia and Perseverance.
Lots of good ones. Lots of good ones.
Cool beans.
Guys, this list was awesome. I can't wait to see what our top 10s are. There'll be a few surprises, I think, and there'll be some old standbys, and that's fine. Because for anything, we're consistent, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Maybe.
Well,
Like they said at the top of the show, please consider liking, subscribing, do all those things. We do have a Patreon. If you want to support us financially, please do. If you can't, just comment. Again, let us know what games off of our list. What's the one game off of all our lists that you want to play, right? So you should have 4
each
games?
of our
Each of our
lists,
lists,
yeah.
right?
Each of our lists.
And then, yeah, join our Discord. Anybody got anything else?
I don't think so.
Tim sucks.
Hey, he's not wrong.
More boring.
Village in here.
For the board game rundown, I've been a team. I don't know. That was my Viking.
Bob.
Mike.
Dan.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay, do we want to try to do our 10 or do we want to wait?
We're going to be here till like 7:30.
Okay.
7:30 is I
So
I literally
let's,
can't.
since we're all in one place, let's talk about scheduling
If
the
we,
top 10.
I was literally watching the timer the whole time, and I said, if we can fit this an hour and a half, then we can probably fit the next one an hour and a half. I might be able to do it,
Yeah. Nope, I was watching the clock too.
yeah.
So,
I kind of knew
Tim,
the answer, but I want to put it out there.
you're out next weekend, but is Friday clear?
If you can say the title's only 3 words.